Hey, it's Jeff and Tucker here at MACkite, and we've been doing a little exciting little series on our wingers here in the shop to just pick 5. That means 5 items. Obviously we get the pleasure of riding a lot of different gear so that we can sell it to our customers and know what the gear's like. But Tucker, if you had to just pick 5 pieces for winging, and that was it, and you had to stay, maybe ride it for a year here in Michigan with the conditions that we have.
Yeah.
What would you pick?
Man, I'm an oddball sometimes, and I like versatility in my gear for sure, especially if I can only pick 5 things. I'm not even going to limit myself to one sport like winging. I'd like to be able to prone with it, maybe downwind paddle, maybe wake foil, something like that. So I approach it at a little bit of a different angle. I've been doing this a while. I have a lot of different ways I like to foil. So jumping into it that way, I think I'm unique than some other people that are really more focused on one sport or even one facet of a sport. I like to ride all the time as much as I can, be in the water and have fun. So that versatility is key. So the first thing I would start with is my board choices, because obviously the board is kind of the crux of being able to do all that. And I'm going to pick 2 boards. 2 boards from Michigan.
So of the 5, you're going to take 2 of them are going to be a board choice.
2 of them are going to be boards.
All
yep. First would be a downwind board. And I'd probably choose a smaller one. I'm more of a prone surfing guy. I'm not like a super strong paddle boarder. As fun as the new downwind stuff is, like, that's just not my forte. So I would size it more towards the downwind, winging, light wind size, but also prone downwind. So something in that 80 to 100 liter zone, just depending on the board and what was going on with that. But,
do you have a board in mind that you choose?
Yeah, good point. Really happy with the Appletree stuff. I've always really liked their construction. The Skipper Downwind is a phenomenal board. And that 89 liter size is a really, really great size for my weight and light wind winging. It's very sleek, it's light, it's nimble, it's durable, prones really well. So that'd probably be my choice for that. The KT Dragonfly is phenomenal as well. It would be another really good choice, but I'm going to say the Appletree just because I really like their brand story. I like their company. I like their construction a lot. And I think there's a lot that can be said. If you're only picking 5 things, I'm assuming it's either a space or a financial thing. I think for most people it's probably more of a financial decision. So having a board that can last 10 years, 20 years under good repair, I think is a good decision with that in mind.
And close sell too, so if you get a...
Exactly, that's the idea. You can ding it, repair it without adding weight, without stressing about the foam core rotting or taking on weight or just getting soggy.
Easy repair.
Easy, quick repairs with that, yep.
So 85, you said you picked the 85 liter?
89 liter.
89 liter, which should be good then for the winging and the prone surfing.
Prone surfing,
all right.
Yep.
There's one.
Could even take it for a paddle. Like, if you're into fitness, if it's not windy, it's not wavy, throw some longboard fins in those boxes, go for a prone paddle.
Maybe drop a little weight.
Yeah, I could use it.
Not implying that
he's got me.
No,
he's got me.
You need to drop any weight. But,
yeah.
That would help you.
It does, dude. This is a jockey sport. The lighter, the better, for sure. There's no advantage to being a heavy rider in this sport, really. Yeah. So,
what's board 2?
Board 2 would be my surfy style wave, good wind wingboard. So kind of our do-it-all wingboard size, that anything that's not light wind.
Powered up over 15, 16 knots.
Yeah, powered up riding. My mentality is mostly in the waves, but something that's versatile enough to do some, jumps and stuff too, is really great. And just something that's going to work in a really wide range of conditions, because I'm not going to buy 3 boards. I want one board that's going to work really well from 15 to 50. Something that's going to be suitable for all of that. And
50.
Also be high performance, that's kind of the end too, is you're to a point where you want a little bit more from your board, going something a little narrower, a little thinner, is nice. And then having a little length to it, just to add some ease of use, add some range on the bottom end, just so it's not super corky. And for that, I would choose the Omen Flux. So that's been kind of my favorite board as of late. I'd also throw out the F1 Wing S. I know you really like that one.
I do.
I've really liked that one for a long time as well, but the Omen has been kind of my latest baby that I really like.
Sure.
And,
So sticking with the Appletree family then for your two boats.
Yeah, the construction from Appletree is really good. And Omen isn't, the same company as Appletree, but Appletree is manufacturing their boards.
Same company. The same manufacturing.
Yeah. So it's still that high density foam, that really high end, handmade, custom construction is really phenomenal. And some special things about that Omen, it's just the overall shape, the dimensions is more that next level board like we've discussed in the past. Longer, narrower, thinner, lightweight, really progressive strap placement. So on your back foot, it's offset to the heel side and toe side, so you can get more leverage on that toe side back foot by putting your strap out there. I use a foot hook usually back there, but that really just gives you the most leverage, the best foot placement over the board, so that you're not forced into that center line stance.
And you use the hook for when you want to jump.
Yeah, for when I want to jump, that's it. I don't really use it for anything else. So just kind of hide it back there on the board when it's out of the way, and it also gives you a little something to push off of too in big waves.
Isn't there a fin on that board too, right where the
in front of the fin track? So if your tracks are here, there's a fin box here. It's an FCS2 fin box here, and it comes with an included fin that you can put in there. And the idea there, is
around the plate.
Yeah, number one, it kind of breaks up the water for the plate and lets that kind of flow through there. But the bigger advantage I found for it is in light wind. So this board has some really long but shallow chimes in the rails, almost like a kiteboard race board. Like, it's not doing this, it's more like this. So the rails aren't real hard in giving you that drive. So having that fin there just gives you a bit more drive and something to push off
Directional maybe? Or
to give you some direction when you're light winding. So the board's not sliding sideways.
Makes sense.
It just gives you a bit more traction forward, something to push off of and build that speed, crossing the wind and build that apparent wind. And I've ridden it with and without, you can feel it a little bit on the light wind, but it's, you don't have to ride it on there if it bothers you. It also works as a handle. The board doesn't have a built-in recessed handle, so you can use it as a handle if you want to. I think that was probably one of their thoughts, putting that on there. But yeah, it's kind of a neat feature, something that's unique to that board that I haven't seen on anything else.
I haven't either. I haven't spent a lot of time on that board, but I know you've really enjoyed it. That's one reason why maybe I haven't seen it as much. But you did bring it back for us.
What do you mean, man? You guys have had it as long as I have almost.
We got a chance to ride it. All right, so you got your two boards.
Yeah, and I get the 60 liter.
60,
for my weight.
good.
Yep. If I was choosing one board, I would look really, really closely at the 72 liter. That one is an interesting crossover that could cover more light wind than the 60 would.
One board, meaning you wouldn't have the other board. You just have one board in your
if I just had one board.
All right, good on
the
that 70.
The 70 would maybe be the step up to gain some light wind ability. Or even the 80. I mean, we get a lot of light wind here in the summer.
But,
a lot of times, my most focus are going towards our fall and wintertime seasons, because that's when we get the most wind, the most waves. So I tend to kind of focus my attentions there in terms of performance. But if I was a fair weather rider, I wasn't going to get out there when it was real cold. I'd take a close look at the 84 as well, just for those summer, spring, early fall days where you just need a little bit more ease of use, more cruise mode, and the waves aren't real huge, and you're not ripping like that, so you can handle a little longer board as long as it's super light, which it is. So.
Well, you got two down.
Three down.
Three more.
Next I'm gonna go to my wings, I suppose, or I should say my wing.
Okay, I was wondering where this was headed. You kind of threw
it's a tough decision, because you could go one wing, and I can cover a lot of range with the one wing if it's the right wing and the right foils. But I'm gonna go two wings.
All right.
North Loft Pro 8 meter for sure. That thing will get the lightest of the lightest of the light. That's going to get us out,
Michigan here now talking.
We're super light wind, and that has a decent top end too.
I agree with that.
If you're really looking to stretch your limits, that can be a good one on the low end.
12 up to 20 knots maybe for you?
Yeah, maybe even more than that with the right foil. You can really hold it down. I mean, if you're just going to ride waves, and you're just using the wing as a toe in to get back up wind, to get into waves, you're not really looking for you know, specific type of performance, you're not doing a lot with the wing, you know, you can probably push that up to 25 and really push the upper limits. And it's going to be totally lit at that point, but you can just feather your way out there and make it work. So,
and most of the people that watch know you and your riding ability, and you speak and you joke occasionally about your weight, but 200 pounds
yeah,
rider. We want to put some context to the 8 and what that range would be for what.
Yeah, totally. And I could definitely consider the 7 as well. But being not, you know, we do get so many light wind days, and you got that downwind board and the quiver, you know, you want something to pair with that you can really just get out in like 5.
Cheat it.
Yeah, just go for a cruise, go out in 5 and make it happen. Just get that maximum range.
It's going to come down to your foil, which will be your last pick. So you said 2 wings, right?
2 wings. So yeah, my second wing, it's a tough call for sure, but I'm going to go with the Glide Aluula AA. And it's kind of the price of 2 wings, so I'm cheating a little bit.
Yeah, you are.
But it's a phenomenal wing. It's got a lot of that versatility. It's got a big range,
What
which
size?
is really, I go with the 5.
Okay.
5 with the 8. Yep, that's a nice range. So that wing has a good range on the top end especially. So as a second wing, you want to be able to go high because like we said, you want to be able to go out when it's blowing 35, 40 here. And that's definitely on the top end of the range of that wing, but you can make it happen. But it's super light, super balanced. It's great in the waves. Still has decent low end.
And the longevity of it. They're claiming that they
That's what I was
pre-stretched
gonna
it.
get
They
to.
pre-stretched it and they worked on it so that you can get years out of that wing. Time will tell.
Yep.
But
It's got the Aluula canopy, Aluula frame. So it's stiff, it's light, but yeah, the longevity again is kind of what you're thinking there. When you're investing in only 5 items, you want it to last as long as you can. That's what kind of separates it from a lot of the other group, I would say, is that longevity.
and some can see that as a real positive. Others may say, well, things are going to change in the next 3 years, so that wing's going to be like old school, so why would you want it to last 3 years? But I do feel the curve in the wings has gotten such that they're ahead of the game they were when kiting first started.
Yep.
So there's, you know, this, and I've ridden that AA. It's a solid, lightweight charger.
Yep.
If you know how to navigate it. So
yeah, it's great for everything. You know, you can freestyle it, you can ride it. You know, racing is competitive. You can wave ride with it. It's really good.
it's like
for
a little
everything.
tissue, a little feather out the back when you're holding it too. I mean,
Exactly.
It's-
So that's
it's like
what
it's not
kind of
there.
separates it from some of the other options
Yeah.
I consider. And if you're going to stick me with a price ceiling and that's not included, you know, I'd take a really close look at the North Loft Pro. Take a really close look at the Omen Flux.
yeah, nice.
And you know, coming from my perspective again as a real price conscious person just by nature, you know, I'd probably go with the Omen Flux. You know, if I was choosing it and had a budget in mind, that's just a really great wing. Has a lot of the benefits that the AA has. Not quite as light, not quite as stiff, but it's dang good. And,
Sure
and
is.
longevity is pretty good with it as well. We've seen so far with a lot of sessions on that one. So.
Good. Well,
a good one to look at.
we're at the last one. So what would
And
be
you're going to stick with me with a foil, which is probably
Yeah.
the hardest choice because we ride so many different foils. We have so many different foils in the shop, and a lot of the brands now they're cheating off each other. They're copying each other's work, you know. So you get a lot of what's similar out there with just kind of slightly different feels, you know. And what I would say is I would choose something around 1,000 centimeters squared, mid-high aspect, somewhere in there. Some of the foils that would be in the contention for that, Eagle 890, rides bigger than it is, super fast, super versatile. SF 930 is really great as well. I got the unifoil progression, 140 is a really great foil. Let's see, Slingshot Phantasm, the 899, or the other PTMs there, the 930. So it's a really tough call there, but I would have to say it would be the F1 Eagle 890 if it was a
my
one
favorite
foil.
one? That's one of my favorite wings.
It's phenomenal. I always really like the F1 brand foils. They're just really intuitive, very smooth, crazy efficient. There's just some special sauce with their foils, and you know that's going to light wind pretty well with an 8 in the downwind board.
What would you pair?
It's
with
kind of small for light wind, but with an 8 and a downwind board,
I agree with that.
it's pretty darn capable.
With the big wing and the board, I think it can happen. Less friction on the water, you get your speed up. What would you pair with the rear stabilizer of that, and what length would you go with the fuse?
Yeah, good question. So, if I was choosing a 2-piece, it would be the extra small fuse with the C200 stabilizer.
The double X small.
Yep, double extra small with the C200, and they make a version of that in their new monocoque construction too. That'll be available moving forward. So that would be an option as well. They're both really good, and the monocoque's maybe a little stiffer, a little lighter, but a little less drag, but nothing game changing there.
Have you ever paired that with the downwind one? That's the 200?
Yeah, the 210, downwind 210. Yeah, I rode that one with the downwind 210 quite a bit. It pumps a little better. It's maybe got a little more low end with that, but I prefer the Carving 200. It's just got a bit more of a flowing, bouncy, turning feel. There's a little bit more traction in the turn to push off of. With a flat, high aspect stab, sometimes they want to slide and skip.
A little more point and go speed and efficiency.
Yeah, and there's just more there to stabilize it. So getting something with just a little anhedral, just a little smaller span, just it gives you a little bit more flowy feeling.
Surfer background.
Yeah,
I know you're a good surfer. I've seen
exactly.
you on the waves. You like to work the wave from top to bottom, down turns, and make it.
Yeah,
happen.
I like to push into them. Do those power turns, get the little snappies in there, and that's just really well suited for that. You can definitely look at the Skate 950 too. I use those almost interchangeably. But our conditions, a lot of times the Eagle is really nice to have that glide. You get those gutless days, especially when you're talking about light winding. You want that max efficiency, that max range from the foil. And the 890 is really capable in the turn. It's definitely beyond what my ability is in terms of what you can do with it. So no letdowns there at all. So I think that would be it.
You've opened up my mind a little bit with the fact that I think you can do one foil and bridge the gap. I mean, especially if you get to a certain level of ability, and you pair it with the right, like you said, a little bit larger wing to get powered up, to get you up in the that lighter conditions. But once up and riding with that foil, very efficient, not much drag and speed, and it has a low stall speed, which F1 is known for. So I think that's
a point where you can fly the 8 with the 60-liter board and the small foil.
The skipper.
Once you get up into the upper teens, that 8's got plenty of power, to get you up and doing that. So, you can play a little mixy-matchy. I can prone surf both of those boards. You can downwind prone with the downwind board, or on a small day, you just want to chip in from the outside. You can do that. With the smaller board, it works really well as a prone board as well. So you can get out and do that. You can even wake foil with it. You can dock start with it. It's super light. So, pretty versatile. You can do almost anything with that setup.
Sure. So for our viewers, name your 5 again, one last time.
Yeah, if I can remember them here. So it's an Appletree 89 liter Skipper Downwind narrow. The
Omen.
Yeah, the Omen 60 liter Flux board. The 8 meter Loft Pro light wind wing. The 5 meter Ocean Rodeo. Asterisks with the price on that one. Maybe the Omen Flux
if you need to.
And then the F1 Eagle 890. With a high modulus 14 millimeter mast.
Good.
That would be on my wish list, and again, some of that stuff's a little bit more pricey, so you could switch and swap. Some other stuff in there too. There's a lot of other good gear on the market too, but that's the stuff that kind of sticks out as the first choice that I would make if I was grabbing it to go out for a session or go on a trip. Even sometimes that can be a thing, where you leave some gear at home because you can only bring so much. So.
Well, that kind of segues, putting a spot here a little bit. You did that with me when I picked 5, but that was Michigan, and a lot of people have similar conditions that we can have, meaning wind ranges from that 10 up to 20, 22 often, and then occasionally go above that. But we don't live in that 18 to 30 a lot around here.
Yeah, it's more of a 5 to 25 is where we live.
Yeah. So what we do have customers, I know, have a loyal following of you and a loyal following of our channel that travel in our windy conditions, like La Ventana. They're at the gorge during the summer. Hawaii in the winter. We can even throw in our East Coast friends out there, you know, with the wind that they have.
Right.
And, you know, and even down in Texas and South Padre in the winter, you know, they get some good, decent winds, steady winds every day. It comes up to 18 to 22 plus. Of your 5, would you do any trades or switch if you knew you lived in an area or you could travel and maybe avoid that light wind?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely nix the downwind board because you're not going to need it unless you want to do downwinding or something, which is great. But you know, I can downwind pretty well proning with just your normal wing board as well, just chipping in from the inside and making your way out. Or just wing. Wing downwind's fantastic, and it's kind of a safety net. You don't need to spot cars and all that. You can always just make your way back upwind. So definitely nix the downwind board. I would nix the 8 meter, and I would probably swap those for another foil, something smaller. You know, if I had, say, like a 990 Eagle, I would jump down to like a 850 skate. Something like that. Just depending on, you know, what my bigger foil choice was would influence.
You go up on the Eagle, but down on your like a mid-high aspect skate.
Yeah, because you usually size down slightly on the Eagle versus the skate. So I compare like the 890 Eagle to the 950 skate. I ride those two in a very similar range. So just depending on what my other foil was and where I was headed to. You know, if I was heading somewhere with bigger waves, I'd definitely be looking at something smaller. Even than that, maybe bringing an 890 Eagle and, you know, 750 skate or something like that.
How about your wing? Because you said
wing. You know, I'd go from the 5 to a 4. The 5-4 combo is a really good one for good winds. That's going to cover me, you know, in a lot of wind, especially with a choice like a Mode Pro that has such high end range.
So the 5.5 of the Mode Pro, right?
Yeah, 5.5 and a 4.
They don't make a 5 or the 4.8 Mode Pro.
Yeah, and they make a 4.2. So it would be a 4.2 and a 5.5.
Okay.
Mode Pro, and you know,
or 2 AA's.
Yeah, a couple of AA's, a 5 and a 4.
Yeah, well, you'd have them for a few years, and maybe it'd work.
We're playing pretend today. So
yeah, we are. Well, good. That makes sense, and those subtle adjustments, obviously based on the wind and the wind range where you live and such. But well, there you have it.
There's it.
There's Tuck. Been a big proponent of the growth of the sport. I mean, you were one of the early adopters. I mean, at the shop and in the I'd say Midwest. I mean, of getting into winging.
There wasn't a lot of gear out there back in the day, so we were fortunate enough to be able to get our hands on it.
But even the local guys, you know, it's been kind of slowly getting into the sport. But you've been there since the first wings and getting your hands on them, and it's good to hear your perspective of where you would narrow your 5 choices, because that's not easy. You know,
it's not.
When you have a lot of different access to gear, and you've gotten used to riding on what you want, pairing it perfectly. But
a lot of times I'm not riding what I want. A lot of times I'm just riding what I have to test.
That's true.
It's rare that I get to ride stuff I really want to ride.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
You know, that is something that, you know, we do that though, so that, you know, our customers, when they call in, we can talk to them and have experience firsthand. Gives us some credibility.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
We're not just reading about it and watching videos. We're actually on it, riding it, and testing it. So
it is. It's fun. Every time you go out, something new to explore, something new to learn. And adding the gear to that is even further continuation of that. And
awesome.
Yeah, that way you have an answer when somebody calls in and says, "What about this?" And you don't just go, "I don't know."
Yeah, I've been on it.
I was just on it yesterday, and this is what happened, and this is what I think. And it works out really
sweet. Well, thanks, Tuck. There you have it. There's Tuck's 5, pick 5. And if you have any other questions about any of the gear you heard or things that we've covered, hit us up here at MACkite. Send us an email, send us through a chat, or give us a phone call. We'd love to help you out. It's been Jeff.
And Tucker.
Try this dope.
I forgot what I even figured out, what my choices were.
That's why I like it. We gotta make it happen.